tonight, but they did call this an active crime scene. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to step out of the way here. We are at the corner of Pleasant and Emory Streets by the city's War Memorial, and this scene spans multiple blocks. It continues down Pleasant Street, past the War Memorial. It goes past this gas station you're seeing here. And just to give you an idea, we are also about a block away from City Hall. Now, as we said, this is an active crime scene, so probably best to avoid the area. You can stay with ABC6 here and online for the very latest on this story. For now, we're live in Attleboro. Brittany Comack, ABC6 News.
There was that heavy police presence seen near the War Memorial at Emory and Pleasant Streets here in Attleboro. That started roughly 10:30 Monday night. Police had several blocks of downtown closed off, and they were seen interviewing people outside of a convenience store as well as a gas station here in the downtown area of Attleboro. Now, a small police presence was here on scene until earlier this morning. That has again wrapped up, and police remaining tight-lipped at this time, not answering any questions from the media. We're going to continue pressing the Attleboro Police Department and bring you the latest.
Breaking news tonight out of Providence. Police investigating the shooting of a 20-year-old man. This happened right on Camden Avenue around 9:30 this evening. According to Providence police, he was rushed to the hospital. No word yet on his injuries. No suspect just yet either as police continue their investigation. Breaking news right now on 11 at 11. Police investigating a shooting just hours after a murder on the same street. What we know so far.
This happened right on Atlantic Avenue shortly after 8 tonight. Providence police really not saying anything else tonight, but say the victim was taken to Rhode Island Hospital. The investigation is still ongoing. A large police presence seen earlier tonight right on Arch Street. Our photographer tells us there were about 15 police cruisers on the street, and it does look like someone was arrested. Right now, there's limited information, but we do have calls into the Providence Police Department for more information. Of course, we'll keep you updated with the latest development. New tonight here on 11 at 11, we were there as firefighters battled a blaze in Providence right inside a tax preparation office. This happened over on Perez and Associates on Broad Street. Fire officials tell ABC6 that fire broke out around 8:30 tonight. Now, it started in the basement, then quickly spread to the first floor. No injuries were reported. The cause still under investigation right now. Breaking news right now on 11 at 11. A deadly crash in Pawtucket under investigation after a man crashes right into a utility pole. What we know so far.
Firefighters cut the roof off the car to get that driver out, and that person was rushed to the hospital and died. Police have not released the driver's name. The crash does remain under investigation.
New details now out of Coventry, where police found themselves in a tense standoff while serving an arrest warrant last night. Police arrived to serve that warrant at Ramblewoods Estates. That's where 42-year-old resident Craig Chapman threatened to harm himself and kill his family. Now, the initial warrant was for domestic disorderly conduct. Coventry police say they evacuated nearby residents amid the standoff. The regional SWAT team even responded, and Chapman eventually surrendered. He is set for arraignment today.
In Providence, police investigating a stabbing. This happened on Broad Street around 8:30 tonight. Police say that 41-year-old Dennis Flores was taken to Rhode Island Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No one has been arrested at this point. The car was stolen right on Elm Street this afternoon. The woman left the car running while she ran into a store, and that's when the suspect got in and took off.
Don't leave your car running and unattended. Don't leave your children in a car that's running and unattended, even though you're only going to be in the store for a moment or two, and only you're going to be away from the car for 50 feet. It's just very dangerous.
Now, I know you just saw that surveillance video I obtained, but I wanted to give you a closer look. So these are the steps that man in that video was sitting on. He was sitting here for a very short time when he noticed the woman across the street get out of her car, leave it unlocked, and that's when he himself walked across the street, got into the vehicle where the 2-year-old was sitting in the back seat. Thankfully, when he drove off, police were able to find the vehicle shortly after. The 2-year-old was safe and sound when they found them. But tonight, I also spoke with residents in the community who said they are happy to hear that everyone was okay, but the search for the man responsible continues. Now, we've continued to reach out to Woonsocket Police Department for further information, but they haven't returned any of our calls. Live in Woonsocket tonight, Hector Molina, ABC 6 News.
Tonight, more than 20 employees from a Pawtucket medical supply company are recovering in the hospital following a chemical spill.
Don't know what's happening. We're just coming out to work and something happened. We don't know what's going on. So, yeah, very scared. Yeah, very, very scared. Really scared.
Pawtucket officials say around 4:30 Thursday afternoon, multiple employees said they felt sick, reporting symptoms such as irritated eyes, sore throats, and feeling nauseous. Minutes later, the entire building, a medical production company called BioDetech, was evacuated as a precaution.
Well, we saw all the emergency rescue crews coming by our house and didn't give it much thought at first until we started seeing different towns like Lincoln, North Providence. So we knew something serious was going on.
Officials say none of the employees taken to the hospital have life-threatening injuries. Tonight, the investigation remains ongoing to determine what caused this. And Pawtucket police say the risk of exposure to nearby homes is low. Tonight, this building will remain closed until officials say it's okay for employees to go back. Live in Pawtucket, Olivia DeRocha, ABC 6 News. As we continue to mark the first year since the pandemic, the city of Cranston having its own memorial service Wednesday night to commemorate the lives lost in the city.
And I feel their energy, and I feel the energy of our community leaders and the people around me fighting, unifying, collectively getting together to have a conversation to create positive change in their honor.
The service coming after the Cranston City Council passed a resolution a few weeks ago, introduced by Councilor Anise Germain, proclaiming the first Monday in March as a COVID Remembrance Day and establishing that they must hold a memorial ceremony.
It's a somber night.
Many of the elected officials who spoke saying they are overjoyed people are getting vaccinated, but cautioning people against getting complacent with the virus.
While we know that there is hope to be had, we must not lose sight of the loss that has taken place. Our future will be brighter. As always, one Cranston, one heartbeat.
So far, the virus has killed almost 140 Cranston residents, those present tonight remembering their friends and family.
Showing their support for the lost ones, so that's something that I'm very appreciative, and I'm pretty sure the community will appreciate it too.
This would mean the world to them, that they're not forgotten about. You know, they mattered. The city recognizes it, and it's just a beautiful thing.
One of the city councilors saying at the end of the ceremony that she hopes tonight they began a tradition that they can return here each year at City Hall to commemorate the lives lost in the city due to COVID-19. In Cranston, Brittany Comack, ABC 6 News.
Yeah, some pretty scary moments yesterday here on Admiral Street. Police say that 11-year-old girl was playing in her backyard when that man came into the yard and tried to pull her away. This is 50-year-old Glenn Chamberlain. He's accused of trying to kidnap an 11-year-old girl outside her home on Admiral Street.
This is scary. This is bad. This is really bad.
Neighbors around Admiral Street disturbed after police say Chamberlain grabbed her arm while she played in her backyard.
I have all my grandkids here, all 7 of them at sometimes, and my yard is the neighborhood playground, so that's pretty scary.
Just scaring a kid like that is awful.
According to the police report, Chamberlain threw away some trash into a can at the end of the young girl's driveway before looking around the yard. After he tried and failed to grab her, she ran into her home and told her mother what happened. The mother alertly ran to the window and was able to see his vehicle and get his license plate.
I'm happy she got away safely. You know, I'm sorry that happened to you.
I couldn't imagine, especially being in that situation, being manhandled by a man, older, bigger. She must have been frightened.
Based on the vehicle description and registration, Providence police eventually tracked down the white Hyundai Accent he took off in near the intersection of Douglas Avenue and Vesey Street.
Now I know that I need to be really on high alert. I'm definitely going to be outside more and paying attention to who's driving by and walking by.
And once Providence police detained Chamberlain on Vesey and Douglas, they brought that 11-year-old in to identify him. That's when they brought the 50-year-old in to custody. Live in Providence, Darren Botello, ABC 6 News.
Community leaders speaking to the crowd tonight encourage them to become politically active if they want to see systemic and lasting change.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
It's a chant that's become all too familiar for Black and brown communities.
And once again, we're struck by a tragedy.
Rhode Islanders gathering at the State House in protest Wednesday night over the recent police shooting of 20-year-old Dante Wright in Minnesota during a traffic stop.
Seeing this again and again on TV, and I had counted, it's been 15 times since George Floyd of last year. It's like there's no message that's being got by the police departments across.
The officer involved allegedly grabbed her gun when she meant to grab her taser. She resigned and is now facing charges for second-degree manslaughter.
This is almost like deja vu, right? Oftentimes, we're not done grieving over the last victim, right? So it's a continuous struggle of grief.
Wednesday's protests, led by the Black Lives Matter RI Political Action Committee and their executive director, Harrison Tuttle, who encouraged those at the protest to run for local office if they wanted to see real reform.
I'm hoping that people felt like they walked out of this with solutions. And what the people want is to feel safe. What the people want is to have shelter. What the people want is to not be killed by the police.
Many at the protest grieving for those that have been killed this year and their loved ones, but once again encouraging action, saying just protesting is not enough.
I'm tired of our lives being reduced to a token, to a hashtag, a moment dependent on the incompetence of officers not knowing their right from their left, whose mistakes are enough to justify murder.
Community leaders also urging unity tonight amidst all of the anger and uncertainty, saying that will be the key to healing. Live in Providence, Brittany Comack, ABC 6 News.
Well, there are dozens of protesters here. You can see them all gathered behind me. They started right here at the State House, made their way downtown and marched back here chanting several names like George Floyd, Adam Toledo, asking for an end to police brutality. One by one, protesters took to the streets, calling for justice for Black and brown Americans.
We're out here because we are tired of the police not getting any accountability for the murders that are being committed amongst our youth, amongst all people of color, Spanish, Black, Asian, it doesn't matter. We're tired of it.
Cedric Russell was one of dozens who participated in the rally. He said their mission to be loud and to be heard.
To bring awareness that we're tired of getting killed and we can't commit violence, you feel what I'm saying, because you know it comes with that. So at least we're going to speak and try something.
The group started at the State House and marched downtown, chanting the names of the lives lost. It's one of several protests held by the BLM-RI PAC group.
Today is just one of many, right? Whether that's Eric Garner, whether that's Breonna Taylor, whether that's George Floyd, whether that's Adam Toledo.
The march comes as jurors in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former officer accused in the death of George Floyd, start their deliberations. It also comes as body camera video of Adam Toledo is released, showing the moments the 13-year-old was shot and killed by an officer in Chicago.
And one of those solutions is being able to reallocate funds to necessary services such as mental health, such as shelter, with the understanding that poverty is a result of crime.
The rally ended with a peaceful moment of silence, with protesters kneeling in remembrance of all of the lives lost. The group says they plan to continue coming out here as long as they need to, and they have every intention of keeping this peaceful. Reporting in Providence, I'm Laura Puglisi, ABC 6 News. I spoke to organizers of Black Lives Matter groups who have been rallying and marching since all of this started just under a year ago. They said they felt relief more than anything, but no, more work needs to be done.
I was watching with my mother, I felt like time stood still. And when I received the result, the first thing I did is hugged my mother.
It was a moment Harrison Tuttle won't forget. Jurors finding former Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin guilty on all 3 charges.
This was the best possible outcome, obviously, that, the American justice system could have provided.
That's where Kinverly DeCoop with Reclaim RI is ready to get to.
It was good to see that guilty verdict. The only thing is that the guilty verdict is not fixing the system. We need to go for the system. We need to go for how the police culture is.
We must look at and use this moment as a launching pad to be able to address why Black and brown people are dying at the hands of police.
We have seen a police presence around the city, and especially right here at the State House tonight, who said they were prepared to respond to any civil unrest if there might be. Of course, that did not end up happening. Reporting in Providence, I'm Laura Puglisi, ABC 6 News.
Well, Brooke, right now we're in Pawtucket on Narragansett Park Drive. I'll give you a look behind me. It's a very active scene now. We're still trying to learn more information. You can see there's responding crews from Pawtucket, Attleboro, North Providence, Lincoln, and many others. Now, we have confirmed with the Rhode Island Department of Emergency Management that this is an active hazmat scene. We're still working to learn more. Again, myself and our other crews are going to stay here to work to bring you the latest. Just stick with us for any updates. Live in Pawtucket, Olivia DeRocha, ABC 6 News.
Police tragically confirming that the body that was found here by the East Bay bike path earlier today was that of Dennis Leonardo Sr. Leonardo was the man who fell into the water by the East Providence Yacht Club back at the beginning of March. A woman walking the bike path here was the one who found the 61-year-old's body on the beach around 10 a.m. this morning, a little south of here near the Squantum Club. Police were initially able to identify him by a tattoo on his left arm. A family member was then able to identify Leonardo, and in a statement from the family through their lawyer, they said in part that they are grateful to the woman that found his body and that this will give them some closure. However, they say they are still concerned about the circumstances regarding their father's death, and they are eager to learn more about the police investigation and where it stands now. The cause of death is now under investigation. Live in East Providence, Brittany Comack, ABC 6 News.
Governor McKee says that the goal of this weekly press conference is to have the governor and the lieutenant governor sitting in the same place discussing things that matter to Rhode Islanders.
If we need reform to the LEA board, and I'm in support of reform.
Hopefully the jury comes to a verdict that I think that we're anticipating, and that it's a situation where people feel as though that there was justice.
Finally, they both discussed stimulus money and how important it is to make sure those funds benefit all Rhode Islanders. Now, we do have all of this information up on our website at abc6.com and more. Reporting live in Providence, I'm Laura Puglisi, ABC 6 News.
Yeah, all day we've been talking to city officials, police officials about some of these problems, early retirements, recruitment issues, and we found one common theme. It has to do with a lot of the issues we've been seeing nationwide with these high-profile cases, and it's really affecting those working these departments right now.
And it can impact performance even if you're working that many hours.
And another issue we've been hearing throughout the day is these department heads would like to see recruits go through them, the individual departments, rather than the state here in Massachusetts. Live in Attleboro, Darren Botello, ABC 6 News.
Staggering numbers. In just the past 10 days, there have been 4 homicides here in Providence. Officials saying the most recent happened last night on Indiana Ave. That's where they say a 31-year-old was shot and killed over what police think was a dispute over drugs.
That's not happening. That's far from happening.
Officials saying tonight all 7 homicides that have happened this year in Providence are still under investigation, and they're asking anyone with any information to come forward. In Providence, Olivia DeRocha, ABC 6 News.
And that testimony continues tonight. Many of these bills are part of a package of legislation proposed by the Attorney General aimed at gun control, while some of these bills are aimed at expanding gun access, with impassioned speakers on either side of the issue.
7% increase in non-suicide gun deaths.
And even though this hearing will continue well into tonight, all of these bills are being held for further study. Live in Providence, Brittany Comack, ABC 6 News.
Yeah, it's a real game changer for folks who are struggling to make vaccine appointments. Today and tomorrow, anyone can walk up to these mass vaccination sites without an appointment and get a vaccine.
Like, it's so fast and you just get it over with real quick.
Now, there are still a few more hours left to walk up tonight. Tomorrow, the Dunk will be open 9 to 6. The Cranston site will be open 7 to 9. In Providence, Amanda Pitts, ABC 6 News.
Hey, good evening. Providence police say they're preparing for any possible protests that could come with the verdict of the Derek Chauvin trial. And some business owners say, like police, they're hoping for peaceful protests.
You know, we're not going to board up, but we want to be here to support anybody who does.
And as of right now, Providence police say there are no known credible threats that have to do with demonstrations or no planned demonstrations that they know of. In Providence, Darren Botello, ABC 6 News.
Brooke, John, a lot of people I spoke to say the announcement comes at the perfect time, just ahead of Mother's Day and Memorial Weekend, and that they have a lot of hope for the summer.
It means survival, quite frankly.
And the Hospitality Association says they're now working with the Department of Health to bring vaccine clinics to these local businesses here so that they can stay healthy and open all summer long. Reporting live in Providence, I'm Laura Puglisi, ABC 6 News.
That historic vote was unanimous, with senators praising Matos' leadership and work ethic.
And I promise you to work really hard to make you proud.
Matos will officially be sworn in as the 70th Lieutenant Governor of Rhode Island tomorrow morning in the stateroom of the State House. In Providence, Brittany Comack, ABC 6 News.
Many calling the news that Rhode Island will hold its 2 seats in the House of Representatives as the census surprise. Rhode Island has had at least 2 seats in the House since the 1790 census. 2020 census numbers showing Rhode Island's total population grew 4.3% since 2010, now sitting at about 1,097,000 residents. The Census Bureau says in August we can expect more information surrounding each state's demographics, looking more into data surrounding age, gender, and race. In Providence, Olivia DeRocha, ABC 6 News.
Well, this program is aimed at giving seniors and other students over the age of 16 the opportunity to get fully vaccinated. That way, they can safely celebrate their end of the school year milestones such as prom and graduation. The vaccine will be available for those students in person, but also for any students learning virtually. And Mayor Hopkins wanted to point out, while the emphasis is on the seniors to get vaccinated, this vaccine will be available to any student over the age of 16, regardless of what grade they're in. We're live in Cranston tonight. Hector Molina, ABC 6 News.
Amanda, just a few hours ago, hundreds of people gathered here to help celebrate the new name of the field, now called the Russell Freeman Field. The family tells me they can't think of a better day to have done this, as it would have been his 53rd birthday.
It's a really touching moment for all of us.
And the family tells me they have more events planned for the future to help keep Russ's legacy alive. There's a golf tournament coming up. We have all of that information on our website. In Warwick, Olivia DeRocha, ABC 6 News.
In a joint statement, Ride and Providence Public Schools saying that they have received pushback from the union every step of the way and calling on them to open negotiations to the public. In Providence, Brittany Comack, ABC 6 News.
Well, new tonight at 11, the group Bikers Against Child Abuse taking a ride in front of the State House this evening to help raise awareness about their cause. Spokesperson with the group tells ABC 6 News they exist to empower children to, quote, not be afraid of the world in which they live. And with these informational rides, members are sharing a message that they're ready to offer support to children who are abused. Protesters gathering right outside of Vets Auditorium, calling on the state to put $2.5 million in the budget to go towards the Rhode Island Vision Education and Services Program. Now, this comes after a state contract with the school for those with disabilities is set to end. As a result, 13 teachers at the Sherlock Center on Disabilities at Rhode Island College were laid off. At this point, the contract has been put out to bid by the Rhode Island Department of Education. Parents and students are now trying to save their teachers and those vital services.
Without the correct services, they don't have that same chance like every other student. We want them to be treated fairly. We want them to have a chance and be provided with everything that they need.
If I didn't have those services, I really don't think I'd be where I am today. Like I'm taking honors classes. Next year I plan on taking AP classes. I've seen how well this program works, and it can't just go away.
Island Department of Education, a spokesperson told ABC 6 News they're having conversations with stakeholders, as they call it, on how the state can support these services and students. We also reached out to the governor's office. Spokesperson for the governor says Governor McKee is committed to finding a solution to make sure students get the services they need. Hear all about it. Thank you, Jeff. Today is April 20th, or what's left of it is 420, the unofficial holiday for celebrating marijuana. And tonight, the group Reclaim Rhode Island was protesting at the State House, calling for the state's cannabis legalization law to include automatic expunging of marijuana-related offenses from criminal records and diversifying the industry.
The current business structure right now is it pools money at the top and it pools power at the top. We're looking for a new structure of business called worker cooperatives, where the workers actually own the business. And we know that worker cooperatives tend to keep the money in the community.
Earlier this month, you may remember 2 bills aiming to legalize recreational amounts of marijuana and tax adults' use of it were taken up by the state Senate, and they were held for further study. The gusting winds are still here, and winter-like temperatures are on the way. Yes, ABC 6 News photographer Ethan Lopez needs a heavy jacket tonight as he brings us this live shot of the Providence River over at India Point Park.
And here's a look at the supermoon right now. This is a live look. Our photographer Ethan Lopez is outside in Providence taking this photo right now. It looks beautiful. It's hard to believe that's going to even look fuller at 11:30.
The Rustic Drive-In hosting an Oscar party tonight. They had to postpone last night's event. It was canceled because of the rain, but that didn't stop them tonight from gathering in the parking lot of the drive-in up there in North Smithfield to enjoy watching some movies on this lovely Monday night and have some good food to do. What do we got there, Nicholas?
It's championship week for high school girls volleyball in Rhode Island. Tonight, East Greenwich hosting Chamberlain for a Division I prelim. Thanks to photographer Ethan Lopez for shooting these highlights. Avengers took the first game, but the Clippers had a strong response in the second. The kill gets down for Nicolette Ducharme. Cumberland took game 2. EG trying to keep things going in their direction in the third. Avengers put a shot down over the net for the tally there, but the Clippers take the final 3 games of this match to win. Shannon Raftery just too tough to get by at the net, one of her many blocks on the evening. Cumberland advances to the quarterfinals tomorrow night, 3-1.
Smithfield hosting Coventry tonight, and the Okers were not very nice guests, up 35-0 at the half. The Sentinels defense coming out strong in the third quarter, though. All sorts of trouble in the backfield, finally brought down by Albert Hitu on the sack. But later on the same drive, Coventry's Nicholas Carpinello makes it a 40-burger. The Okers get a big win, 55-0. Situate looking fresh with the new uniforms, the blue trim on the side, new logo on the helmet on the road at Pawtucket. Now the Chieftains would force a Spartans turnover and turn it into points here. The dump off to Salvatore Bianca. He does the rest. Extra point no good, so Pano up 6-0 after the long catch and run. Later on, check this out. Same score, Situate puts big number 54, Cian Couliard in at quarterback in the red zone. You think it's a power run with the big man, but he fakes it and delivers a touchdown pass to Dan Sinamo. What a play call. Love to see a big guy score. Then you see a big guy selling. Those would be the only points the Spartans would get, however. Pawtucket wins the Cider Cup game 34-6. Pawtucket with a chance to clinch the #1 seed in their division, but trailing Smithfield 7-0 at halftime. Second half kickoff, the Sentinels muff it. The Chieftains jump on it. They'd score twice to take a 14-7 lead. But later in the third, the QB sneak, usually good for a yard or two, but Corey Conlon stays on his feet. He's off to the races. Touchdown Smithfield. This game's tied at 14. Pano gets it back into the red zone. The give to Nicholas Bacala, and Mr. Elvis Costello breaks through into the end zone for the go-ahead score. Pano gets the top spot in the league with a 36-21 victory.
What an incredible dog sniff by you. Wow. They were flippin' excited for the semifinals in Coventry tonight. That's Crystal Haynes showing off her skills. Okers hosting North Smithfield Mount St. Charles. First quarter, home team going aerial. Will Turner drops back and throws it long because he sees Jaden Pearson with a step on the defense, makes the catch, goes to the promised land. Coventry takes the 7-0 lead. Later in the first, always tough to punch it in from close, but not when you got Nick Carpinello to dive over the line. The big back extends the lead for the Okers. The early scores propelling Coventry to the 27-13 victory. Okers will play Johnston next weekend for the D3 title. What a game. Wow. Photographer Ethan Lopez making the trip to Narragansett tonight as the Mariners were hosting Tollgate in a Division IV semifinal, and more fans there to root on the Mariners. Close game at halftime, 15-14, but second half, all Mariners third quarter. That is Reader Fry. He's no small fry. Barrels over the goal line, extending the lead to 22-14 for the home squad. Later in the third, the Gansett defense putting points on the board. Sam Duckworth flies in for the sack in the end zone. Put your hands up. Mr. Official, that's a safety. Makes the lead 24-14. In fourth quarter, Mariners putting this one away. Brady Butler gets the drop pass, goes 42 yards to glory. Narragansett headed to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2014. 31-14 the final. They'll play the winner of tomorrow's Pawtucket EWG semifinal.
No playoffs
Let's go to Massachusetts and down the Cape tonight. Fairhaven puts its unbeaten record on the line against Bourne. Already up 21-7 in the second half. The Blue Devils tossing it out to Jason Mata, and Mata, Lotta blocking in front of him, gets to the end zone, extending the Fairhaven lead to 28-7. Then just before the end of the third, visitors driving again. It's the famous Dominic Ramus who gets the carry, and he's over the goal line to make the lead even bigger. Fairhaven wins again 35-14. Blue Devils now 4-0 thanks to our photographer Ethan Lopez, who was at that game tonight.
Bishop Fian hosting Bishop Stang in this Bishop battle. The Spartans down a score early, but knocking on the door. Dylan Aguiar with the QB sneak to tie it up at 7 in the first. But later on, the Shamrocks gonna run the sweep outside to Nicholas Yanchuk. Now you see him, now you don't. Now he's coming right into your living room. Let there be light for Bishop Fian. The sun shining on them as they come away victorious 27-13 the final.
This story in Fairhaven tonight. Cheerleader Cyrus Farias honored for a clean bill of health after battling stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma, but back out cheering on the Blue Devils. That's the best news we will report on this newscast all night. Awesome. On the field, first quarter, Blue Devils, you could say, already had a great cadence to their offense. Shows again, Caden's chase, a long 54-yard touchdown run. He had the first one, too. This one puts Fairhaven up 13-0. Then in the second, now 20-0 home squad. Peter Joseph keeps the rock himself, takes it to the end zone from 7 yards away, rolls in. Fairhaven wins big, 33-0 over Wareham. Blue Devils 2-0 for the first time in 10 years, and the victory was Cyrus Proof. I love that. And finally tonight, Greater New Bedford Voc Tech trying to bounce back from their season opener loss, hosting Old Rochester. Second quarter, home team down 7-0. Cam Lynch going to the air. It's Kyle Langlois for the 23-yard hookup. Extra point no good, so the deficit at 7-6 for the Bears. But the Bulldogs would keep this one out of reach. Third quarter, Stephen Arn gets the carry and takes it a quarter of the way down the field. 25 yards for the score. ORR defeats GNBVT 17-14 the final. And thanks to our nightside photographer, the hardworking Ethan Lopez, for grabbing the last 2 games for us tonight. That's Pick 6. We have more sports coming up after the break.